Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Elecro has sent me one of their 10.1-inch smart panels, which are based on the ESP32-P4. And as you perhaps can see, I've built a simple 4-operator FM synthesizer with this. But my main idea here is this UI, which I'm going to show you in this video. And I will also show you how to set up a project in Visual Studio Code, because Elecro's documentation is a bit outdated at this point. But of course, we'll also take a look at this panel itself, the camera, the loudspeakers and everything else. I think this is a compelling package for DIY developers. So if you're interested, please join me for the next minutes in this video. The usual disclaimer: Elecro sent me a free sample specifically for this video, so I didn't pay the $40 they usually charge for this. Other than that, I received no money, so make of that information what you will. Here we go.
Elecro's ESP32-P4 based HMI screens have been around for a couple of months now. This 10.1-inch model comes with a 1024x600 touch display, built-in speakers, a choice of wireless modules for Wi-Fi and long-range connectivity, and an optional 2-megapixel camera that can be used for face recognition. It includes a UART port, a USB-C port, a GPIO header, an SD card slot, an NS4168 audio codec and a built-in microphone. There's also an ESP32C6 onboard that handles fast Wi-Fi communication. For roughly $60, that's a lot of hardware, and if you still think that's too steep, there's also 5-inch versions starting at $40. The screen is excellent, colorful, high contrast and responsive. The ESP32-P4 should be more than capable of DSP tasks. It's effectively 2 to 3 times more powerful than the ESP32S3. The kit requires very little assembly. Plug in your wireless module of choice, attach the camera, connect the speakers and stick them to the back of the device, and you're ready to go. Elecro pitches this as a development platform for smart home AI applications in the style of Alexa and Siri, and the device ships with a demo that shows off the ESP32-P4's capabilities beautifully. However, I had something different in mind. I wanted to use this to prototype an idea I had for an FM synthesizer user interface. Elecro's wiki is quite extensive, but software moves fast, so their tutorial PDF is already outdated. So let me show you how to set up Visual Studio Code for development. Start by installing the ESP-IDF extension. Once it's installed, click on the ESP-IDF icon by the left sidebar. Then go to Advanced and open the ESP-IDF Installation Manager. Click Start New Installation and select version 5.4.4. You can leave all options at their defaults. Installation takes a while, so be patient. Now connect the Elecro board to your computer. Plug the USB-C cable into the UART port, not the USB port. Once installation is complete, go to Advanced again and open the new project wizard. Select ESP-IDF 5.4.4 at the top of the window. In the menu that appears, choose the Hello World template and click Create Project. Pick a directory you want to work in. Select ESP32-P4 as the target and ESP32-P4 with USB JTAG as the board. Choose the serial port your screen is connected to and click Create Project. You should now be able to compile the project and flash it to your device. From here, you can work through Elecro's tutorials and examples. For this video, I did some copy and paste programming with the chapters on using the touchscreen, LVGL, and the section that shows you how to record and playback audio. But now let's talk about my idea. I've been using FM synthesizers for years, and I've talked about FM sound design a lot on this channel. FM can be hard to grasp for newcomers because it's basically the opposite workflow of subtractive synthesis. Oscillators are called operators here, and they're divided into carriers and modulators. The way they interact is defined by algorithms that look like bonsai trees gone wrong. Funny enough, most FM synthesizers, hardware or software, don't do much to make the tech more accessible. Few of them have knobs and faders, and even fewer have user-friendly displays that show what's actually going on. FM started in the 80s, and back then high-resolution color touchscreens were future technology. They first appeared in the mid-80s and became viable in the early 90s. They were expensive, washed out, and had tiny viewing angles. Putting them into synthesizers would have made already expensive instruments even more expensive. So instead, we got two-line LCDs showing numbers, and later low-resolution two-color displays that showed a rough approximation of ADSR envelopes, if at all. And that history has led us to where we are today. Even modern synths, like the Rephase DX or here the Montage M, give you one ADSR graph per screen at most, and usually just one color. But it's 2026 for crying out loud. We have ultra-high resolution color displays everywhere, and they're cheap. We also have development tools that figure out what you're trying to do and then handle the boring parts for you. So, in FM, you start with the darkest and cleanest sound possible, a sine wave. This can be distorted by another sine wave, generating overtones that make the sound brighter. The amount of distortion is controlled by the strength of the modulation. In an FM synth, that's the amplitude of the modulator. The genius of FM is that the modulator has its own ADSR envelope, so the amount of distortion can change over time. Bright to dark or dark to bright. We already use bright and dark to describe that sound, so why not use that visually? In FM, the oscillator that produces the audible sound is called the carrier. My idea here is simple. Display its ADSR envelope with gradient that moves from dark blue to bright red, showing the user where the tone is brightest and where it's darker. In this algorithm, that's done by calculating the average y-axis value of all modulators. The result is normalized and mapped to a color scale from pure blue to pure red. The carrier's ADSR curve is then drawn in 12 possible color shades from left to right. It's a simple light-white process that barely uses CPU time. And the best part is that it mostly only needs to run when the user is interacting with the touchscreen rather than playing the keyboard. In my FM synthesizer, all modulator ADSR envelopes are always visible in the background. You can access them via tabs to edit them, and the carrier's envelope updates live. On the right there are two sliders, one for modulation strength and one for the modulation ratio or frequency multiplier. Unfortunately, the Electro screen has no headphone jack, so you'll have to live with the microphone recording. You could easily add one yourself, but I was too lazy to do that for this video. So, what do you think? Would this display help you to come up with your own FM sounds? If this idea has convinced you, feel free to make it your own and use it in your next FM synthesizer. Thanks for listening!
Yeah, and that's it for today. A very simple 4-operator FM synthesizer based on Electro's 10.1-inch smart panel. If you want to try this yourself, links are in this video's description. The relatively new ESP32-P4 processor seems to have quite some punch. As usual, thanks for watching and see you again next week or so. Bye bye!